Now to discuss inflation and the economy, which is still in recession, is Georgia Congressman and member of the House Budget Committee, Buddy Carter. Congressman, welcome.
Thank you.
Well, let me ask you this. Every month we've seen under this administration, year over year, inflation increases. It's up another 8.3% again. And as you saw, Biden took a victory lap today. But this was happening as the legacy media cut into his speech to report on the Dow taking a total beating, as CNN put it. So why do you think this administration continues to lie to the American people who are certainly not feeling that relief in their wallets?
Well, you're absolutely right. The American people know better. They understand. I think for a moment, if you were to lose a month's income, I mean, if you were not to be able to get paid for a month, what that would mean? Well, essentially, with inflation at 8.3%, that's what it works out to be. We are losing a month's paycheck due to inflation. And Americans understand that, and they recognize that, they realize it, and they're suffering through it. And yet here we have a president who's trying to tout the Inflation Reduction Act, which I refer to as the Inflation Acceleration Act, even though we all know, and the economists have said, that it's going to raise inflation. It's as if they didn't learn anything at all from the American Rescue Plan. The American Rescue Plan is estimated added 4 percentage points to our inflation rate, and yet they want to continue to pour more money into this economy, essentially putting fuel on the fire. What we need to do is to rein in the spending. Inflation is caused by too many dollars chasing after too few products. What we need to do is we need to cut the spending. We need to make sure that we're doing something about the regulations, and we need to tap into our energy potential here in America. That's what's going to happen. That's what's going to help us get out of this mess.
Congressman, everyone today at the White House, well, they were like chugging the Kool-Aid. Here's what Speaker Pelosi said earlier today.
Inflation Reduction Act, so beautifully named for all that it does. As the name suggests, this landmark law is cutting costs and inflation fighting and driving down costs for kitchen table items for America's working families.
This is a lady who buys Jen's ice cream and has a bunch of pints in her refrigerator. But as we've mentioned, food prices are up, home energy prices are up, home costs are up. I mean, this bill gives tax credits for new cars that might not run in California. I mean, how out of touch are these Democrats in really trying to fight to bring these kitchen table prices down?
They are tone deaf. There's no question about it. And let me tell you, we just finished a 6-week recess. And during that time, I've been in the district talking to people and talking to farmers in the ag community. And they have assured us that if you think grocery prices are high now, wait until this next crop comes up, because this crop that they are planting now and they will be harvesting soon, that is where you've got the fertilizer costs, the diesel costs, all of it invested in that. Food prices are going to continue to rise, and that's what kitchen table issues are, and that's what Americans are discovering, and that's what they're realizing, that things are going up so much and that real wages are going down. We are losing ground here. And who does it impact the most? It impacts the middle class and the working class, the people on fixed incomes who can least afford it. They're happy they're going to get a 4% raise, but then inflation's at 8%. They're losing here. And that's what the Democrats don't understand.
Well, your colleague, Texas Congressman Chip Roy, he reportedly sent a letter to Minority Leader McCarthy demanding that Republicans oppose any continuing resolution that raises current spending levels. Did you see that letter by chance, Congressman? Do you support that notion? Because I know you said you got to cut spending, and a lot of Americans right now saying, what are you doing to help us?
Yeah, and I have not seen the letter, but I do subscribe to that, and I do think that that's the right idea. The last thing we need to do is to spend more money right now. Do no harm. That is what in medicine, that's a Hippocratic oath, and that's what we need to be doing in our economy right now, is not to add more dollars to the economy. The Fed's trying to slow this down and to taper it down with the increase in interest rates, and that's going to help. But I'm telling you, putting more money into the economy is going to do nothing but add fuel to the fire.
So after tonight, primary season is over, and all eyes will be on the general election. As you've been going out campaigning, you know, I have to say the Democrats are really honing in on that it's going to be about abortion, and that's why they're going to be able to close the gap and win many of these seats. But do you think that that's going to be enough for Democrats to win? I mean, I still think that when you're looking at these poll numbers, for the House of Representatives, it looks strong for Republicans. I think for the Senate, it's a little trickier. What are your thoughts on where this will all land come general election day?
Again, we've been in the district for the past 6 weeks. What have people been talking to me about? They've been talking about inflation. They've been talking about crime. They've been talking about the southern border. They've been talking about foreign relations and what's going on in this world and this weak leadership that the Biden administration is providing, trying to lead from behind. Those are the things that they're concerned about. And yes, abortion's an issue to the Democrats, but, you know, you want to talk about the extremists in abortion, the Democrats who want to believe that you should be able to yank a baby out of the womb up until the last day, that's the extremists. They are the ones who are the extreme on the abortion issue. But that's what people are talking about in the district when I go through the district. They're talking about inflation. They're talking about crime and safety. They're talking about education. They're concerned about having a say in their children's education. And they're talking about making sure that we are safe, making sure that we are securing our southern border. Fentanyl is, you know, it's killing over 300.
The issues that impact Americans every single day, Congressman, and I hate to cut you off, but we have to leave it there, sir. A lot of folks watching tonight and ready to vote in November. Congressman Buddy Carter of the great state of Georgia, thank you, sir.